Thank you for your interest in the Retained Recruiter Show, powered by iIntro. Before the show starts, I have a small favour to ask of you. Our goal is to provide you with the most insightful, helpful and practical recruitment knowledge and know-how from the best in the recruitment industry. If you like this channel and enjoy watching our content, hit the subscribe button to get notified as soon as we upload a new episode. Thank you again, and as ever, we're rooting for your success. Now, time for the show. Hello and welcome to the Retained Recruiter Show. My name is James.
My name is Jo. Hopefully, if you can hear me, I apologise in advance for any technical issues that you experience from me today. But luckily, James, you're not alone, are you? So you've got someone who can fill in for me.
Absolutely. So, well, you can tell it's a live show when you have technical problems. But anyway, today we're joined, and we're delighted to be joined by Jem Bevan from SocialJems. Starting with myself. So, Jem, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome. And don't worry, Joe. If we can't hear you and you go, I'll just carry it. It's fine. I'm sure we all know that I can waffle on for a good hour, let alone half an hour.
Jem, we don't like.
I think we could both leave. We could both leave. Me and James can just leave you to it. This is the Jem Show.
Indeed. Listen, Jem, we are delighted to have you back on the Retained Recruiter Show, and you're back by popular demand, by the way, because you're such a live wire, and the information that you share. And I know that everybody who's listening in today is going to take something away from this that they can action probably straight away, and that's the value of what this show brings for us. So delighted you're with us again, and listen, if you're a bit quiet as well, so make sure you speak up, because being quiet is not normally one of your traits either, Jem. So
yeah, I'm definitely not quiet. Quiet and Jem, and never usually in the same sentence.
So listen, we've trailed the show with the heading for today's show is called the new LinkedIn algorithm. We all know about that, and the reality is, how is it limiting your reach? And so Jem's going to share some things with us. Joe, do you want to jump in with the first question, or do you want me to jump in? I don't know how your technical issues can go on.
I think I'm good. For one question, and then you may need to carry me for the rest of it. But so I don't know about anybody else, but I've been feeling the pain with LinkedIn recently, and it is super frustrating. And Jem is definitely the girl who can tell us what's going on. So give us a bit of an overview, Jem, on what's actually going on with LinkedIn in terms of kind of algorithms. What's changed, and how is that affecting us?
So there's been a few different changes, and they're now rewarding different behavior than they were before. So if you normally, when you're on LinkedIn and you see a post that's got a good 100, 200 likes, something like that, but all the comments in that post are great post, love this, thanks for sharing type posts. Well, they've kind of listened to people when they've said, this is pod behavior, we don't like this, and they're actually trying to limit that type of behavior. So if a post has one or two word responses on it and not much else, and that kind of tends to be what's happening, even with all its likes, it's not actually going to reach anywhere near as many people as it did before. What they're wanting is the thing that they've always been pushing, to build a community, to get people to work together, to help each other, to build your little groups and your tribes that are actually going to promote each other and mention your names in rooms. And to do that, you need to make conversations rather than 1 and 2 word responses on posts, because that's where the conversations start, right? So what they're now rewarding more than anything else is those long, well thought out responses. And I think a lot of you will have noticed that if there has been a post recently where you've actually gone off and you've put a really well thought out response or something that's funny, but you've taken a little bit more time to actually construct that comment, all of a sudden you're getting notifications in your inbox saying your comment reached 1,000 views and things like that. Because again, that's the type of thing that it's promoting. So if you're the type of individual that historically has just gone through and liked a lot of stuff, you're going to notice when you post, actually your post's not reaching as many people as it did before. Those few likes and things and the odd comment that you were getting from people that you knew isn't carrying you half as far as it did before. It is looking for those long conversations, responses. So what I've been saying to people, but it's something that I've said for forever, to be fair, is in that situation, ask a question, respond to something in that post, and then ask another question that's linked to that, to carry that conversation on, to show LinkedIn that you're actually trying to create that community. They're also looking at scroll time as well. So if again you are that type of person that's just on that post and just puts great post, like, move on, and you're not actually spending any time on that post, so you're not reading it, that again is going to be stunting your growth. So what it's looking for and what it's promoting is people actually reading, properly engaging with each other, having conversations, building the communities, building the tribes.
So Jem, can I jump in there and ask you a question? Because I think I'm probably like a lot of people and guilty, you know. Sometimes you do get that 15 minutes, you think, right, I just want to see what's happening on LinkedIn, and you'll scroll pretty quickly and you'll see something from one of your connections and you might just like it. So is that almost pointless?
Yeah.
Okay. That's first then. Pointless just to like.
It's pointless in terms of what, like, LinkedIn's you're not gonna benefit from it by doing that, other than it is just showcasing to people that you know that you're actually still there to support them. I still do a little bit of it because actually, if you think about it logically, it's human behavior. Some days I'm really chatty, and some days I want to talk to absolutely everybody in my news feed. Other days I'm frazzled. I've had nothing but back-to-back calls. I've been dealing with issues. I've been picking up new little bits of work that clients have asked me to do. And I've only actually got time to just have a little bit of a scroll through, see if there's anything I've really missed and like a couple of things. And that's human behavior. I think in terms of if LinkedIn's going to, you're going to benefit from doing that on LinkedIn, no. But it's still showcasing support to people that actually know you. So there is a benefit to you of doing it.
Okay. On that point, so I had no idea that LinkedIn could look at scroll time as an indicator of what you're doing and who you are, because obviously there's certain types of people that they want on there and there's certain types of people that they don't. So that whole idea of building a community kind of fits in with their whole, LinkedIn is a networking site after all, isn't it? It's not a site to sell on. So can you give us an idea of some of the other kind of metrics maybe that we should be aware of? So it's like scroll time. I'm thinking also of, can they see if you're off a phone or a laptop? Can they see the times a day that you're doing it? Do they make a difference?
So they can see all that, but no, not necessarily. You've got to think everyone's going to be on LinkedIn at different times anyway, depending on what fits in with their daily structure. So like me as an example, Charlie's 13 now, so he takes himself to school, he can get himself ready, he can prepare his own breakfast. I'm not really needed. So I'm scrolling on my phone at that time because I'm ready for work and I want to see what's going on. But actually, some people that are doing the school run have not got time to log on till 9 o'clock. If you're spending more time on there, they are going to see that, and they're going to see that you're adding more value to the platform. So there's not just been algorithm changes in terms of the comments, the engagement side. They've also decided they're also ranking content differently as well. But you've got to think, if you're on there and they're actually seeing Jem Bevan today has been on LinkedIn and actually she sent out 20 messages and started conversations with people in her inbox. That some of them she's spoken to before, others that she's not spoken to before. Then she's been in on a news feed and she's been engaging with people and she spent an hour and a half doing that. And then she's created her own content and shared a video. They're going to reward me for adding more value to that platform than they are someone that's just gone on and spent 20 minutes engaging that day, or has just spent 20 minutes sending inbox messages, because I'm adding more value to the platform. I'm trying to build relationships with people in my inbox, like on a one-to-one basis. I'm engaging with people's content. I'm pushing it out. I'm asking questions. And then I'm creating content myself that's trying to help people. So now that they've said, in terms of content, the way they rank it is the more value you're adding is the further it's going to be pushed. So things like carousels, blog content, newsletters, they're pushed out to second and third degree connections and actually get you noticed a little bit more than they did before. If you're adding things like videos, images of yourself, then graphic design led, it's all a different variety. So effectively giving each and every person that's on LinkedIn content in the way that's easier for them to digest, because we don't all digest it in the same way. Some of us prefer videos, some of us prefer to actually sit with a carousel or a blog and a longer piece of content. Personally, I can't think of anything worse. I prefer it to be in a video form where I can actually listen to someone talking about it, or actually just read it myself in one post rather than it being carousels and flicking and things. But that's the point, we're all different. So if you're adding different types of content too, again, it's going you're going to be classed as adding more value to that platform than someone who's not doing that. So actually adding all these different little bits is going to help you and going to make a bit of difference to your reach.
So Jem, what I'm reading there or hearing there from you is the algorithm rewards your input. Okay, so if you're prepared to input and give it the time and effort, so rather than the random casual flicker, which is, we're all, I say guilty, I don't mean it in a bad way. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Maybe, if you've got 10 minutes to spend on LinkedIn, you better sort of engaging for 10 minutes rather than flicking for 10 minutes, if you get what I'm saying here. Because just to put those in and do that. So I think it's probably, be a bit more thoughtful about your reactions rather than just sporadic. Yeah, like that one. Yeah. And I get what you're saying. It's not useless, but it will show my contacts or my connections that I'm actually liking their posts. But I'd actually be better doing fewer, but actually engaging a little bit more, asking a question, not just a comment, nice post, Jem, which is really probably, they're probably reading that as being a little bit too glib in some respects. So is that what you're saying as well?
Yeah, basically. So what we want to be doing is, it is like actually adding value, so showcasing that you're actually reading this stuff and you're taking it in. And in reality, it does change. And I'm not saying that I don't do this myself. I have done it. We all have when we're having busy days and we haven't got time, where we just scroll through quickly. And actually, when we get off there, you sit there and go, I've been on LinkedIn, but you feel drained by it, but you've not taken anything in. You've just scrolled really quickly through a sea full of names. And then all of a sudden you sit there and go, no, I'm not doing that today. Actually, I blocked out half an hour in my diary, and I promised myself that in this half an hour, I'm going to spend 15 minutes engaging with people in my network, and then I'm going to send a couple of messages to people.
Yeah. I've got a question from John. I've got a question, Joe, and it's really for you, Jem, from a guy called John Sam. Thanks for listening, John. And his question is, I think it's relevant to what we just talked about, the amount of how they're tracking time. It says, does it count time on LinkedIn Recruiter or just LinkedIn Premium, or does it count it on any free version?
So in terms of, I honestly don't know exactly. I don't think LinkedIn probably know half the time, to be fair. But it is just tracking the amount of time you're in there. I know LinkedIn Recruitment Sales now, they're all the same. They're a separate app. And in terms of like messaging and things like that, sometimes it doesn't go across. So I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, so well, thanks, John. We probably haven't answered your question, but appreciate the question nonetheless. Jem, just before we go into asking a little bit more about that. Sorry, it's okay. Jem, it's fine. Listen, Jem, why don't you just share with us a little bit about what SocialJems does in its broader context, so you give people an idea of why you're on this show today to share people. So just talk to how you sort of engage with the recruitment market per se.
So we in numerous different ways, to be fair. So I can help train teams and directors on how to get the most out of LinkedIn. We can create the content for you. We can help with the outreach and the engagement. Although, to be fair, I always say that it's better with you if you can keep it with you. And we've recently partnered with a company called So Easy and created a social media scheduling content creation tool called So Easy, which will create the content for you and the graphics, even the carousels. And it enables you to have basically all the content in one place, because effectively, yes, content and that variety of content is needed, and that personal side is always needed, and adding videos and images of yourself into the content that's being created by a platform is always needed. But having something like that basically enables people, and this is the reason why we did that, to do this bit, the bit that's important, making sure that actually there's a strategy behind what you're doing on social media. You know that actually this month we've made sure that there's been 2 carousels, there's been a poll, we've released a blog and a newsletter, there's been 4 videos, there's a good mix of real value-led content in there. Although I'm not saying don't have the personal stuff. It's not rewarded as much as it was before, but the personal stuff is still relatable to a larger target audience, a larger proportion of LinkedIn, sorry. So it will always appeal to people and help push you out into 2nd and 3rd degree connections. So you always need a little bit of it, but your use levels on them just won't be as high. But again, it is still needed.
Good.
Sorry,
and by the way, we had Steve and Simon on from So Easy. So if you want to watch back to that on one of our shows, which you can catch on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. So let's go with another question for for Jem? We can go to.
Yes, absolutely. So earlier on, you were talking. You've mentioned lots of different types of content there. I know we've done a couple of sessions with Finn Patrick as well, where we've talked about different types of content. But I think sometimes people maybe get a little bit overwhelmed with carousels and blogs and vlogs and think, oh my God, I haven't really got time. So can you just give us a bit of an overview of the type of content that LinkedIn is prioritizing? And if you could give like just a top 3 that maybe people should be prioritizing over other types of content,
so
if it's possible.
it is that adding the value and that real mix of everything. So, but we've all got different markets, and we've all got different people and different types of people in a network. For me personally, I focus heavily on images of me, videos, and then the blogs and the newsletters. You'll very rarely see a carousel on mine because they don't really go that far. So it is a trial and error thing. But even if things like your blogs and your newsletters aren't getting as much traction as they were before, as you'd like them to, just remember that that's really good pieces of content to actually pin to your featured section, so that when anyone's going, I need that service, they're then going over to your profile, they're seeing the blogs, these really in-depth pieces where you've really, really shown that part of the language that you know your shit. And that's exactly what you want them to see. So switch your thinking with things like that, where you're like, it's not getting loads of views at once. No, it's not. But it's being seen by second and third degree connections who didn't even know you existed before.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can't see that, can you? You can't see that people are seeing that in your sort of second and third degree connections.
So you can, it depends on your account on LinkedIn, but with most of the paid accounts, you can see quite a lot of the analytics around who it is, where the companies are and things like that, that people are actually checking things out. And it is always worth checking your analytics and actually seeing, you want ideally in that top 10 for it to be the majority of people in your ideal target market, so that you know you're speaking to the right areas.
Yes,
so you can keep going back to it, because that blog is that evergreen type content. It's not like a post that's got a shelf life of a maximum of a week. It's rare that you'll get a post that people's liking 2-3 weeks later, unless they've decided that that's their sales strategy, and they're going to go like everything that you've posted over last year to then drop you a message. It is that content that people will be going back to. So keep going back to it 3-6 months later and actually seeing how many people have checked it out. If there's, because that is the type of stuff where you're really showcasing your knowledge. It's also good content to actually push out in different ways, so it helps you market in loads of different ways. If you put it on your website, it'll help you rank more, rank higher on Google. Then you've got a big, really chunky piece of content to send out in an email marketing campaign as well. If you've got things like blogs on your LinkedIn as an example, it also gives you a really good in to actually start conversations with people that are in your ideal target market too. So instead of dropping into their inbox and going, yo, who's doing your recruitment? You're going, oh, I've just recently created this blog and I thought I might find it useful. And then all of a sudden that conversation.
Yeah, we talk about that as being as part of our training program, Joe. We talk about gifting, don't we, in terms of gifting content. You know, whether you've created it yourself or sometimes where you've seen a great piece of content, which we see all the time from recruiters, and you know, you like to share it with, you know, contacts, connections, your audience itself, and it just shows somebody that you're thinking of them. I think, you know, that's an important part.
And so it's set to specifically news pieces. Like, even if you see something in the news that you know is going to affect them, they're going to love the fact and they're going to remember you over anyone else as the person that gave them something and tried to help them, rather than tried to hard sell them, which is what the majority of most people do, or still try and do, on LinkedIn. So actually by doing that, stand out for all the right reasons. Yeah,
absolutely. I had a question, just a follow-on question, because you mentioned algorithms then. And I think that being able to measure your, not algorithms, insights, and then I think being able to measure your the impact that you're having on LinkedIn is really important. So can you just give us a bit of an overview of insights? Where do we go to look at post reach and audience, and also likes and comments? Because we can look at the metrics on those as well, can't we?
So it's all on. As you scroll down yeah, when you're on your profile on LinkedIn, if you scroll down just above the featured section, it will tell you all the analytics on on all your posts as a collective, how many people have checked out your profile, how many search appearances and things like that you've actually come up in. And it is a good idea to keep a track of those. What you also want to be doing is on a weekly basis, actually looking at who's checked out your profile this week. Is there anyone that you can actually reach out to? Then drill down, and if you go into past the featured section into the posts and comments and newsletters section where it breaks down everything that you've been doing on LinkedIn, you can then see at the bottom of the post the impressions, the likes, and it'll show you if you're on, especially if you're on a paid account, you'll then see a breakdown of sectors, seniority of that person and the role that they're in. What out of all the companies that have checked you out, where are the majority of them actually from? So you know that, like as an example for me, if I've got 20, 25 people from Pertemps as an example, checking out my content on LinkedIn, then I know it's probably worth dropping a message to someone over there, because a lot of their team's probably mentioning my name because they've seen some content and they're interested in it.
Yeah.
So it helps you build a pipeline as well of people that are actually warm.
Yeah,
so
that's
when you
great.
look at those stats, those insights, then, Jem, and you see that, and yeah, if people are seeing a decline in reach and engagement, are there any simple tweaks or that people can introduce pretty quickly to improve the visibility? What can, some hints and tips on what people can do to improve visibility?
Just do that, like literally that engagement piece. So if you're going to focus on anything this week, focus on commenting, liking, getting involved in other people's conversations, but actually reading the post, spending some time on it, putting a well thought out response, or even funny. It doesn't even always have to be professional. Most of the ones of mine that get higher impressions is me just being my normal chirpy self. And
you wanted to say something then, didn't you, Jem, that wasn't chirpy?
Well, it was going to be worse than by my. So I was like, yeah, let's not play that game. We don't know where this is going. We might have to censor it. But yeah, like stuff like that, it gets you noticed. It showcases your personality, because actually having that piece is a key piece in there. The majority of us work in highly saturated markets where there's 50 or 60 different people locally that they can go to instead of you. And the thing that makes you stand out is your personality. So let it shine.
Yeah. Can I ask a question here? So obviously a lot of our audience is going to be owners and directors of recruitment businesses. So what would your advice be to them to help their consultants? What should they be doing as an organization to help their consultants to get better results out of their LinkedIn, do you think?
Well, number one, hang on me. No, I'm joking. You can.
That wasn't. We didn't tee that up either. By the way, that was purely organic.
Sounded like it. By the way, whilst you're thinking about that, I've got a question for the audience as well. So let's have an answer to this one, because I want to ask you a question from April. It's a good question, but answer Joe's question.
I've completely lost my train of thought now. So So what you can do is get them to block out your time. So I know it sounds like a simple thing, but actually say to them, right, guys, at this time every day, you need to be on LinkedIn, liking, commenting, getting involved in other people's conversations. They might not be comfortable creating content right now. Do you know what? That's okay. Actually, I'm spending half an hour, 45 minutes, having that blocked out in the diary to engage and get involved in conversations. They're starting conversations with people that they can work with anyway. They're going to get themselves noticed. People are going to go off and go, who's that who's coming on my post? I wonder what they do and where they work. So then all of a sudden they've gone over to profile. But once they're actually doing that commenting stuff and actually getting people responding back and it's going well, it's then easier to push them to do the content, to do the other stuff, because they've built your confidence in one area and seen the analytics around it. Because again, when we were talking about like how many search appearances and things and how many people have checked out your profile, even without creating your own content and just going out and making those comments, those analytics will start to increase anyway. So start off, just get them commenting, get out in the diary, so it's something that they know they need to do. Otherwise, if it's not blocked out, you forget about it.
Yeah. Well, this question from April I've got, actually, it sort of might tie in quite nicely with there, but let's see if we can give this a bit more context as well. Actually, got a couple of questions coming. But this first one from April is: what behaviours might hurt reach that people may not realise?
Good
So
question.
Great post, love it. As your constant forms of engagement, actually putting derogatory comments on things, getting reported, spamming loads of people and getting reported for that, those types of things.
Yeah. Okay. And I've got another question, which is which is a good one as well. It says, and I don't know who it's from, but it's from a LinkedIn user, whatever that means. Anyway, do the alterations to the algorithm impact on the social selling score and how they've adjusted the criteria to reflect the adjustments? Does that make sense to you?
So there's the social selling score. I haven't looked at for years. It used to be, do you know what? In fact, it was my be all and end all when me and Joe worked together, which is God.
I remember.
Because it was, in actual fact, I always looked at mine were always at 70, but I got all my leads from LinkedIn. Yeah. So actually what you want to be tracking instead of that is these impressions and the analytics and making sure that the content is hitting the right people and just making sure that you're creating really long, well thought out comments, not just great posts, and a variety of content. And that's the type of stuff that you want to be focusing on, because that'll then show your analytics going up and your lead generation increasing from LinkedIn. So focus on impressions, reach, lead generation rather than anything else.
Okay. Next question, and this is if we had somebody on from LinkedIn, I know what the answer would be. Is LinkedIn, and it's from Liz Harris, thank you, Liz. Is LinkedIn Premium worth the money? It might be a subjective response, but what are the views?
It depends. So personally, I love Sales Nav. I utilize Sales Nav constantly, and I encourage all my clients to do it as well, because if you are doing outreach, it enables you to actually contact more people. Yes, you're getting mails, but I don't agree with sending in mails. I think you do need to build a relationship with someone before you actually send out a message. And most of the time, if you're sending an email, it's going to get ignored, because my response in that situation would be, how are you? I want to move. Or I'm not happy where I am, because you don't know anything about me. So yeah. But the good thing about it is the search capabilities of it. So you can actually really drill down and find your ideal target market, the people that you actually want to work with. It'll pull up a separate news feed, so that when you're actually going through your news feed and spending this time commenting and liking on people's posts, actually in that section, you're only seeing people that you've saved as a lead, that you've said that are relevant to you and that you want to sell to. It also enables you as well with that outreach piece to actually save people as leads and put notes on there as well, so that you're not filling in information in a CRM system and then filling that same information in on LinkedIn. You've got it all there clearly, concisely. So again, blocking out time a day saying, actually an hour today, I'm going to spend engaging with people in my network, sending out messages and actually following up on some of the people that I've spoken to when I've gone through the notes section. So again,
and these are the benefits of the paid account is what we're saying.
They're the paid account. There's also as well with just a standard premium account, which just enables you to search a little bit more. So again, it enables you to do that pipeline building, that looking for people that are relevant to you to like and comment, engage with, send a connection request, that type of thing. On a standard account, you've got so many searches that you can do until it'll stop you. You can't send as many connection requests, and you don't see as many of the analytics. So if you're on a standard LinkedIn account, you're not going to get the breakdown of the top 10 companies, the job titles and the locations of all the people that are checking out your post, whereas I do. And that again just helps with that lead generation and building your pipeline, knowing that actually it'd be a good idea to reach out to these people because they're the ones that are checking you out. And actually out of the posts that I'm creating, actually these posts are actually appealing more to my ideal target market. So these topics need rerunning again in 3 to 6 months.
Joe, I'm just conscious you haven't got access to the comments, so I'm just reading a little follow-up question from April, and it's an interesting one. Does editing a post after publishing it have a negative impact?
Oh, another good question.
No, I don't.
It doesn't, or you don't know?
No, it doesn't. So I have mine put on scheduling tool, but I know what time it's going to go out, and sometimes I need to tag people, and you can't really tag people through scheduling tools most of the time. So I actually let the post go out through the scheduling tool and then go back this morning and tag you to after, and it can make a difference. Today's post has not reached as many people because 20 people have liked it and about 4 people have commented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Final question, Joe, for you to pose to Jem, because obviously,
good.
as ever, we've whistled through this, and
we have absolutely. Just to summarise, I suppose, Jem, you've given loads of information there, but could you give the guys in kind of 30 seconds a practical action plan that people could go back to their desks with now that's going to help them to protect their network, but also grow their reach?
Yeah. So you want to believe in LinkedIn's rewarding the amount of time that you're actually spending on a post. So make sure you're actually reading the post. Make sure you're leaving well thought out, funny, humorous, but long comments. As long as it's a long comment and you're asking a question and continuing that conversation on, it's going to help you. Add a variety of content. So if all your posts are just written posts with a selfie, mix it up a bit. Add a couple of videos in. Don't put too much pressure on yourself if you think you're going to be videos is just not for you. It doesn't have to be hours and hours long or minutes and minutes long. It can be a 15-20 second little video. That's it. If you've not been doing any carousels, create a couple of carousels. It's not that hard. You can do it in Canva. If you want, so that variety is important. Try and add a blog if you're not doing a blog. Add a newsletter, so you're giving people, like, in your ideal target client, that real knowledge pieces that we were talking about. So like when we were talking with Joe and James and Joe were saying, basically part of their training, they'll say to people, give away like a present and give them something of value. In your newsletter, you can add all these news pieces that I mentioned that are actually a good idea to jump into their inbox with. You can collate all that information and go, did you know all this stuff's changed recently? Oh, and by the way, this is what's also going on inside our team too. So not only are you going, here's all the value, on get to know us a little bit as well. So they can buy into you. You've built the rapport before you've even jumped into their inbox. So write your content, make sure that you're actually commenting properly on the posts and reading the posts. And don't be afraid of doing outreach as long as you're doing it in the right way.
Good stuff.
If you want to help your team block out.
Say that last bit again, Jeb. I lost you.
And if you want to help your team and you want them to actually start doing LinkedIn, then you need to put it into their daily diaries and make sure they have time blocked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I think that's really important. A, so that they're doing it, but B, also so you haven't got people spending just sat all day on LinkedIn. I think get what you need to get done and get back out again.
Listen, Jem, it's been as insightful as ever. We've run out of time, which we always do. We'll get you back again later on in the summer. We can still see what else has been happening on the LinkedIn algorithm, all good things there. But really appreciate you putting your time and effort into this. And obviously, please, if you're interested in knowing more, please do reach out to Jem. She's a mine of information. All of it's and quite funny as well. Adds in some of her own humour and personality from those big things you're talking about. I think just as Joe sort of reiterated there, make sure you do allocate some time. So some great little tips there, but diarise the time. If you don't diarise it, it'll just become a little bit of a mess. But Joe, we're back again in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
We are, yes. So we've got a special guest next week. A special guest in 2 weeks' time. All will be revealed next week, but lots of really interesting content coming up in 2 weeks. And then we've got a whole stream of guests coming over the next few months, and I'm sure Jem's going to come back on again. We say Jem is going to come back on again.
Well, listen, thanks very much for watching and listening, everybody. Appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. It's been good to have those. Appreciate those. So it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.